welcome to the Digital Nomad on FIRE YouTube channel. I'm still in Portugal today, and I'm going to talk about something very topical at the moment. But this should be topical for the next 100 years at least. And it's cryptocurrency and Bitcoin, and what my experience with it is, and how I think that works for digital nomads and FIRE people. But I did what a lot of people do. I bought $1,000 worth of cryptocurrency in 2013. That would now be worth about $600,000. Stupidly got rid of most of it. And then started getting back into it in 2017. And today I have about 40 different altcoins. And I'll come to what that means shortly. But the most important thing to know about cryptocurrency is, firstly, this isn't financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just telling you what I do for my own entertainment. You, of course, need to do your own research and proceed at your own risk. But this is just what I do. Bitcoin has returned, Bitcoin is the original cryptocurrency. Bitcoin has returned about 200% a year for the last 10 years, something like that. This is unheard of. This is an incredible return on investment. The thing about it is, though, it's very volatile, so it can go up tens of percent in a week or two and down tens of percent in a week or two. To put that in perspective, if you do the FIRE thing, financial independence, retire early, the FIRE thing of having index funds, you can expect to get a 4 to 7% return on those per year. You see cryptocurrencies go up or down by a lot more than that in a few hours. So it's very volatile. And what you find is, and everyone who's got into cryptocurrency, I've seen the same thing, is you get on the emotional roller coaster. It's very hard not to get on the emotional roller coaster, but the longer you're in it, the more you get used to this volatility, and you can get off the emotional roller coaster. What do I mean by the emotional roller coaster? Well, let's say you put in a significant amount of money into, say, Bitcoin. Let's just call it $1,000, and it goes up to $4,000 in a month. You might be like, oh, this is great. And then it crashes down 50% in 2 days. Now, do you take it out? Do you cut your losses? Then it goes below the amount you put in. What do you do? Do you cut your losses and walk away? Do you put more in? Unless you're in it, unless you've experienced this, you don't really know what it's like, but you start thinking about it all the time. And it's very difficult to be unemotional and disciplined. And this is investing advice I've heard from a lot of places, and I agree with it. Investing should be boring, is what some people say. I wouldn't necessarily say boring, but it should be unemotional. You should plan what you're going to do in advance and stick to it. Not panic sell or panic buy or FOMO buy, fear of missing out buy, because something's gone up 300%. If something's gone up 300 or 400% in a week and you buy, there's a very good chance it will go down again, because remember, cryptocurrency is very volatile. So let's go back to the beginning. I'll do some groundwork. So Bitcoin was created, I think it was around 2009. And what is it? It's a decentralized ledger in essence. The revolutionary thing about it is there is no central body that can control it. Millions of nodes around the internet have a copy of this ledger, and none of them can unilaterally control what happens on it. They all have to agree on the ledger. It's decentralized. This means that various governments, failing governments quite frequently, will try to ban Bitcoin because they want to control what people do. But rational people in countries, especially ones with, say, hyperinflation or unreliable currencies, they want to put the value they store, their savings, and I've spoken about how important savings are in terms of being cancel-proof previously. They want to put their savings somewhere where there isn't hyperinflation. If you have your savings in a bank account with money that's hyperinflating, your savings of $100,000 could be worth $10,000 in 6 months. It could be worth $10 in a year. Now that's not moral. That's not good. That's terrible. So something that's decentralized, that can't be manipulated by the government, where they can't just print lots more money, makes it a hedge against inflation in that way. And of course, a lot of money is being printed post-virus by most, if not all, world governments now. So inflation's coming. So, because this is decentralized, it's an inflation hedge. But another thing that makes it an inflation hedge is that a lot of cryptocurrencies have a limited supply. You can't just print more of them. Bitcoin will have a limit of 21 million coins. No more could ever be made. And many of the ones that have been made are lost forever because people lose the keys, which is quite easy to do. So this is just going to push the value of them up. So if you put your savings, not financial advice, but if you put your savings into something that's inherently deflationary, that should go up over time, especially against inflationary currencies. This is the theory. And it's done exactly this since its inception. Now, in addition to Bitcoin, there's something called altcoins, or shitcoins, people call them, slightly pejoratively, but not necessarily. These are, now the Bitcoin has its own ledger. These are different cryptocurrencies with a completely different ledger, different blocks that they put transactions on. The biggest one of these is Ethereum. Now, first gen Bitcoin has many problems. It's quite slow. If a lot of people are trying to use it, I think it's 3 transactions a second or something. It can't be used as a global currency because it technically can't keep up with that. So it's being used as digital gold now, really, a store of value. Ethereum attempted to address some of these problems and add another layer of things on top, things called smart contracts. So you can bet on the Ethereum blockchain and say, if this result happens, pay this person. If this result happens, pay this person. All sorts of things we haven't even thought of yet. Ethereum attempts to make it more intelligent. Now, Ethereum, because we're in a boom, Ethereum has become very expensive to transact on. So this is something that will have to be dealt with. And there are hundreds, maybe even thousands at this point, of other cryptocurrencies. NFTs is another area. This is where you can put a unique asset, such as a sports card or a piece of artwork or a game asset. You can provably be the unique owner of that asset because you're on an NFT blockchain, like Engine or Decentraland, for example. Decentraland is a virtual world. This is the Wild West times 100. There's so many fascinating technical possibilities happening in cryptocurrency now, and there's a huge number of opportunities in if you buy them, in making a lot of money. Now, of course, do your own research, and nothing is guaranteed, and you can also lose money. But I have about 40 different altcoins now. I'm mostly in Ethereum and Bitcoin. But it's just an endlessly fascinating world. The things that will be made possible on this with decentralized ledgers going forward. I believe this is remaking the banking sector. The biggest industry in the world is the financial industry. And it's shit. It's so backward. Like much of the financial industry, it still acts like it was the 18th or 19th century. It's pathetic how shit it is. And it's also pathetic how it gets away with constantly shitting on the public. Look at the financial crisis in 2009. Look at the terrible service most banks give. They just don't care. Because it's very hard to start banks that challenge incumbents. You've seen in the UK there's a few challenger banks which are doing kind of interesting things, like Monzo, Revolut, Starling. They have apps, wow, so advanced, that send you notifications when a payment comes through. They let you make virtual cards. They let you actually buy cryptocurrency, which a lot of legacy banks don't even let you buy cryptocurrency in their account. If there was an industry which was both in need of massive disruption by better companies, and where there was the potential to make a lot of money, it's finance. Finance is the biggest industry. It is the business of printing money, and it needs disrupting. So this is going to remake our world in fascinating ways, and there's a lot of great moral angles to this. I mean, I think something like a billion people in the world don't have a bank account. They don't have access to a bank account. They live in unstable countries. or they're too poor for existing legacy banks to give them a bank account. So they just can't have a bank account. They get paid in their job, someone mugs them, all their money's gone. Someone robs their house, all their money's gone. With projects like Cardano, with the ticker symbol ADA, they're specifically trying to help. I think Ethiopia is one of the countries they're helping. It's a bit like when developing countries skip the whole landline phone network and put mobile phones in instead. This is kind of skipping the banking system and going to something better instead, which would be the Cardano ledger. So suddenly all you need is a smartphone that costs $50, which even a lot of the poorest people in the world can afford a smartphone and do have one. In terms of cryptocurrencies like Cardano ADA in Africa, you're banking people who don't have access to a bank account. You're bringing them financial justice. So somebody who may regularly get robbed because they're very poor, they live in very poor accommodation in the world, then maybe they have to pay a protection racket in their neighborhood, whatever it is. You're giving these people some kind of financial justice, some kind of financial security, all through cryptocurrency, through decentralized exchanges, through stable global money that cannot be manipulated by an unscrupulous government from the failed state they live in, whatever. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. There's so many really fascinating things you can do with cryptocurrencies that we haven't even thought of yet. So this is the background to cryptocurrencies. The financial system, the biggest industry in the world, is being disrupted massively, and it needs it, and there's huge opportunity there. But what does that mean for you as a digital nomad, or wannabe digital nomad, or somebody who's interested in financial independence? FIRE, financial independence, retire early. You don't have to be interested in any of the great potential of cryptocurrency. Personally, I'm a technologist. I find it fascinating. You don't really have to be into any of that. So far, as an investment, it's been extremely good. Now, some people have lost money on unscrupulous projects, and any individual projects could go bad. But nobody who invested in Bitcoin and held it, as of the time of recording this, has lost any money or significant amount of money. Almost all of them have earned vast amounts of money because it's gone up a lot, as have a large number of cryptocurrencies. Now, if you don't know anything about it, what does that mean for you? What should you invest in if you're interested in investing in this stuff? Again, not financial advice, but I am into, as I say, about 40 different altcoins, interesting projects that to me look like they have potential, that are talked about by some of the bigger players, like YouTube channels like BitBoy Crypto. He's a bit of a joker, but I personally really enjoy that channel. And there's other guys like Sheldon Evans, a bit more serious, but probably a bit more technical. There's a lot of information out there. If you want to do some research, you want to see the cryptocurrencies people are talking about, or maybe you want to look at some that are top 50 or top 100, which have more growth potential. So you can do things like look at the market cap, which is the value of all the coins in circulation. Bitcoin's market cap is currently over $1 trillion. For reference, gold's market cap is over $10 trillion. So I think it's likely Bitcoin will take over, will have a bigger market cap than gold in the future, but who knows? We don't know that. But that gives you an idea of scale. Ethereum, I think, is a few $100 billion. So if you're looking at a cryptocurrency which has a lot of hype, which only has $1 billion market cap, or even $100 million market cap, that has a lot more potential to go up a lot. So you could potentially earn more money, but maybe it's more risky. So this is a huge area to get into. If you just want to get into it a little bit, you could open an exchange account. An exchange is a place where you can exchange fiat money, US dollars, British pounds, euros, etc., into different cryptocurrencies. So if you just want to dip a toe in the water, you could put a bit of fiat in whichever exchange works in your country. Could be Coinbase, could be Kraken, could be Binance. These are some of the main ones. Just put $100 in and forget about it. Put $100 in Ethereum, Bitcoin, and maybe one or two others, and just forget about it. If you'd done that in 2010 or 2013 when I did it, and not touched it, which is the mistake I made, you would have a lot more money now. So if you're curious about it, just have a play. Just dip a toe in the water. Start learning about it. Start watching some. There's a hornet outside the window here. That is huge. I'm currently in Portugal. If you, just start playing with it. Have a bit of fun. It should be fun, and this is why I like the BitBoy Crypto YouTube channel. It's fun. He dressed up as Cupid yesterday. This whole thing should be fun. Investing should be fun. Now, some people would say investing should be boring. It should be planned. You shouldn't let emotions rule your investments, but there's no reason it can't be fun. And crypto is a lot of fun. There's a lot of fun to be had out there. Whether it's investing in artwork and NFTs, releasing your own NFT artwork, or whether it's just getting involved in YouTube channels or seeing what's happening, seeing what's going up. There's things called food coins. There's decentralized finance, which I'll touch on now. So decentralized finance is like Bitcoin. It's decentralized. For people to get a loan, they may no longer need a bank. You can do this in a completely decentralized peer-to-peer way. Imagine that. You don't need some corrupt credit reference agency telling people whether you're a credit risk or not. It can be done peer-to-peer in a decentralized way. You cut out these corrupt legacy banks. You cut out the legacy 19th century banking system that still exists under the surface. You do it in a modern way. You allow people in developing countries who are unbanked or have been discriminated against, or groups that have been discriminated against. You enable them, if they are a low credit risk, and they can demonstrate this, you cut out the credit reference agencies, you cut out the banks, you enable them to have access to a loan if they need one to, say, start a business. The potential here is huge. But then the fun layer on top of this is you have things called like Uniswap, which is a decentralized exchange, which has a unicorn as a logo. We have PancakeSwap, which has pancakes as a logo. It's fun. We can have fun, and we can destroy the corrupt, backward 19th century legacy financial system that is holding the world back now. We can destroy that at the same time. It's a win-win. So, I mean, how many extremely intelligent people are working in banks and financial institutions doing nothing of any use? I mean, it reminds me of Facebook, Twitter, these backward Silicon Valley companies that do nothing useful for the world. YouTube as well, biting the hand that feeds me. Facebook has tens of thousands of developers. What on earth are they doing? Facebook hasn't changed for 10 years. It doesn't need to change. It's finished. You need 5 devs. Like there's apps on the App Store that are better than the Facebook app that have one developer maintaining them. Facebook has tens of thousands of some of the brightest minds in the world doing nothing. Same with banks. They pull in all the best graduates, give them jobs they hate, get them to do nothing of any use except come up with ridiculously complex financial instruments that crash the financial market. So if we can destroy the legacy banks, which needs to be done, these useless institutions, these corrupt institutions need to be taken down. If we can destroy them without destroying the global economy, but actually make the global economy better and have fun doing it, let's do it. So cryptocurrency is huge. Like we can't overstate how important it is. It's not going away. It's probably not going to be banned. Some countries try and ban it, but all that does is it increases the price in that country. There's a reason why people in different countries that have tried to ban cryptocurrency still want cryptocurrency, because they don't want to see their life savings deflated away to nothing. You can't overstate how big cryptocurrency is going to be. It's going to eat the financial system. It's going to take over the world. Now, in purely investment terms, do you want to make money? It's about making cash for some people. Some people don't care about this stuff. It's been a very good way of making cash so far. I think it's likely to remain a very good way of making cash. But look at it a different way. Do you want to have all your savings risked in something that's inflationary, something that can be inflated away, like cash, like even index funds? Are they still going to work? Index funds have been great for years. You've been getting about 7%. Are they going to remain great? Is that a safe place to have your money if the US dollar is crashing? Or if fiat currency is just being printed like it's going out of fashion. Like, do you really want to have all your money in index funds? And I think it's sensible, not financial advice, I think it's sensible to have 10% in a basket of cryptocurrencies. But I'm going to touch here on something else significant. It is very volatile. You will see your net worth go down by 50% in a few weeks. You have to be cool with that. You have to know that's part of the cycle. You have to get off the emotional roller coaster. Now, something else significant to this is something called alt season. So altcoins, remember, that's everything except Bitcoin and maybe Ethereum now because it's so well established. Altcoins in the past have had a pattern where they shoot up tens of thousands of percent and then come almost back down to where they started. So what you can try and do is get into altcoins in a down market. We're currently in a bear market, but we're currently in a bull market, which is an up market. But in a down market, a bear market, you could get into altcoins then and hold them, expect to hold them for a number of years, and when the boom comes, when the bull market comes, you can sell some of them on the way up. Seems like a good strategy. That's what I'm going to try to do. I'm going to sell maybe up to half my altcoins as the market booms more, and then keep the rest long term and just keep that cycle going. Now the only difficult thing is once you've sold them, where do you invest the rest of the money? I mean, property could be a good place to invest it, but then there's problems with that. Holding money seems like a bad idea at the moment, holding a lot of it. Index funds, as I say, maybe that won't work. So it's really uncertain times. So I think it's sensible to try and spread your risk and to have a bit in cryptocurrency. So if you're curious about it, sign up for some exchanges, dip your toe in the water. I'll be talking about crypto more here. Please like, subscribe and comment. If you have any questions about crypto, feel free to ask them below. If you have any insights on it, if you have any other thoughts about how else you can hedge your investments at the moment, that'll be great. So I will see you guys on the road.